So is it possible, or at least feasible, to do reselling like on eBay as either a side hustle or a serious business while you're traveling or you're snowbirding or you're doing the Nomad thing? Well, we do it. We have a few businesses. We may downsize that in the coming year or so to make things more efficient, but we have like 3 businesses now, and one of them is reselling. That's primarily, at this point, we use eBay, but there's other, other platforms. People do Facebook Marketplace and Mercari and what is it, Poshmark, dear? Yeah, I know, there's a bunch of them these days. eBay is kind of the big one for online sales. People get irritated with it for a really good reason. The fees are too high, but at the same time, it's like the mega mall, right? I mean, you just can sell stuff literally around the world. Things you wouldn't think you'd ever be able to sell. So we do it. So I'm going to share a few things about how we do it and the specific caveats you have to watch out for, I think, as a traveler. And we're doing it today because we're in the car. We're going from Gillette, Wyoming, where our home base is, to South Dakota. And we're actually probably coming back to South Dakota in a couple days again, because we're coming over here some sales that look promising. And we're based in a small city in northeast Wyoming, and is like pretty much nothing for, when you leave there. It's a very rural state in a very rural area, other than there's a city nearby to where we are. We're actually just outside of the city. And so we sometimes have to go to big cities like Rapid City, South Dakota, Billings, Montana, Casper, Wyoming, if we need services that aren't available locally, or if we're looking for inventory for our business. So Melanie's driving right now, so I can record this video. And we're just going over to a little town in South Dakota. It's in between Sturgis and Rapid City, where it is a big garage sale starting today on Thursday. Supposed to be a 3-bay garage full of stuff, according to the photos and everything. So we're going to go see what we can find, and we'll bring you along with us. But is it possible to do reselling as a traveler? We do it. So yes, it is possible. There are a couple of definite challenges that are specific to, there's challenges with any business, right? But there are a couple of challenges with reselling that are specific to travelers. And the first one up that is a definite challenge is storage. You got to have a certain amount of stuff to sell. If you're trying to sell 5 or 10 things, you're not going to make a lot of money, most likely, and you have to be able to replenish your inventory as you need it. So we had last summer, one point we were up around 300 items in our eBay store, and we were doing, I'd say, an average of 3 sales a day, 7 days a week. So Monday we'd be going in with 5, 6, 7 items to the post office. The rest of the days it was 2, 3, 4 items, but I think it averaged about 3. This year we're doing even better with the stuff we're buying to sell, which is great. We're learning some things there, but we do have limited space. Right now we got a vintage travel trailer. We're approaching having our box truck camper built out and ready to use. So we have a limited space to store stuff. So we have to be careful about what we buy and what we want to sell. And if we do buy anything larger, we have to be very confident it's going to sell at a good profit and it's going to sell quickly, because we don't want to be stuck storing it for 3 or 6 months or a year or longer, because we just don't have room for it. So we do a lot of smalls, and we try and things that are compact, and we do try and focus on things that have a good sale rate, that they sell fast and at a reasonable enough profit. So storage is a huge consideration, and we have to engineer that in to whatever we're living in, whatever vehicle we're traveling in, knowing that we have to have a certain amount of room for our business, for things we're selling, but then we also have to have room to live. So it's always a balancing act there. The other real big thing that comes up with trying to do eBay, and probably to a great extent the others, but eBay is the one I'm most familiar with, the other platforms, the thing that comes up is addresses. So if you're selling stuff, and then first of all, they want to know where you're going to ship it from. But then if you're selling stuff and you have to walk into a post office and ship it, you're going to pay retail prices for your shipping, which is going to eat into your profit. So ideally, you want to be printing your labels at home or in your vehicle, wherever home is, right? So that's what we do. We print our own labels. We actually do not have a thermal printer. I would love to get one. I picked one up at a thrift store last winter, and I never could get it to work with my Mac computer, but it would just print weird. I mean, it would print, but it would print weird. It didn't size things right, didn't fit for the 4x6 labels. So we're still using our laser printer, and we print stuff off and we fold it or cut it and tape it on. It'd be a little bit more efficient to have the label printer, but that's what we're doing for now. But we do labels at home. So you want to do your labels yourself, because you can get like up to a 40% discount on shipping, which helps maintain your profit. And because remember, you do have to have boxes and padding, void fill, and bubble wrap and tape and other things, labels. You got to pay for all that stuff too. So if you can clear a little bit of margin on your shipping, it helps you out. But if you have to bring it in, you're going to pay full price. If you're printing from home, you've already had to tell them where you're shipping from. And when you go to print that label, it's going to say whatever town you say you are shipping from. For example, Gillette, Wyoming, Pahrump, Nevada. And our experience has been, if you bring it to a different post office, they don't like that. They want it messes up their system or something. They want it going out from the post office you said it was going from. So on eBay, and again, I think this is similar. I've looked into some of the other platforms, but eBay is the one I have the most experience with. On eBay, you have 5 or 6 different addresses. I know this because it jammed me up before, and I had a heck of a time figuring out where it was buried. It's somewhere in the account settings. So there's like your legal address for your domicile they want to know. That's for tax purposes, because if you sell more than a certain amount and it's been going down and down and down, they're going to send you a 1099 form, which will not be very complete. So make sure you're keeping good records as far as where your money's going. So they'll send you a 1099. Yes, you have to have your legal domicile address. They have to have your mailing address. And then there are several other addresses, including your return shipping address. And returns are one of those things on eBay that they all but force you to do. You don't have to accept returns. You can refuse to accept returns, but if you don't accept returns, you're not going to get as many sales or make as much money probably. And eBay will still allow any buyer to force a return simply by saying the item was not as described, and that dings your account. So you're better off just accepting them and sucking it up, knowing that it's hopefully going to be a small percentage of sales get returned, but then you get the thing back and you can sell it again. So it stinks. I don't like it, but Melanie doesn't like it. She's over there driving. I can tell you she doesn't like it either. You basically have to do it, but even if you don't do it, they're still going to allow people to force a return by saying items not as described. And when that happens, they generate a label that goes to the return address, the return shipping address you have in your account. So that's one of those 5 or 6 addresses. So that becomes a problem if you're traveling. So you have to use like a mailbox service like the UPS store. We use a Gillette mailbox. Mail messages are more. If you're in Pahrump, Nevada, there's one in Quartzsite. They're all over the place. You basically have to use something like that. But then if somebody ships something back to you, then you have to have your mailbox person reship it to wherever you're going to be. So you're really getting dinged on shipping. So that is kind of a challenge. You have to either set that and keep it to your mailing box address if you're traveling, or it's going to be getting returned somewhere you can't get it. See, that's a problem. And again, the whole shipping thing, you're going to have to be consistently updating your location you're shipping from if you're pre-printing your labels. So those are kind of the 2 really big things, the addresses and the inventory. But it's doable. There's other ways to sell. There's other platforms. I think Mercari is pretty similar with the shipping stuff and returns. They don't, I think the shipping's included, but there's a whole bunch of platforms. Etsy, Facebook Marketplace could be an option depending where you're at and how your camp is set up or how your rig is set up, which is to say, if you can just hop in your vehicle and go meet somebody at the local Walmart to deliver something, you may be able to sell on Facebook Marketplace, but that might get challenging if might have some similar challenges if you're shipping it, but then if you're like set up and it's a complicated thing to break camp, you maybe don't want to do that every day and then get to, well, you know, wherever you're supposed to meet somebody, figure out they didn't show up anyways. So is it possible? 100%. One of the fun things about it is you get to go different places and source in different places, and it's flexible. And I should mention too, on eBay, they have this thing that used to be called vacation settings, I guess. Now they call it time away settings. And you can turn it on where you're traveling or you're not available to sell. And you have you set the dates you're going to be not available. And you have two choices. You can not show your items for sale temporarily, or you can show your items for sale and it'll adjust the shipping time to tell people that you're on time away and you won't be shipping for a few days or whatever it is. That's a cool feature there as well. But it is fun being able to travel around to different places. You get to source in different places. So we're going to a big garage sale right now, 3-bay garage, supposed to be full of stuff. And we're over in South Dakota. And then when we get done with that, depending on how that one goes, if we get a lot of stuff or if we're there for a while, there are several thrift stores in Rapid City, which is just past where we're going. There are several thrift stores in Spearfish, which we're just coming up on and about to go through right now. So we may hit some thrift stores too. And if you're ever over here, Spearfish Canyon 14A, Spearfish Canyon Scenic Byway, very, very scenic, lovely ride. And we're heading into some little town between Spearfish, then Sturgis, and it's in between Sturgis and Rapid City. And we'll go check out some thrift stores probably after that. But we're going to bring you along. We'll show you some of the scenery over here in Black Hills of South Dakota. And then we'll show you a little bit wherever we're shopping or sourcing today, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll even go over some of the goodies we get. And we've made a video or two about eBay stuff before, but we get asked to do more about it, and specifically to talk about the whole how we do it as travelers. And hopefully we're not bouncing too well. I don't have this camera stabilized too good, I don't think. This road is rough. It's been pretty smooth, but now that I'm trying to show you where we're going, it decides to get rough. All right, we're just coming up now on Sturgis, South Dakota, just a little town here, but this town explodes in population and popularity every summer in August as the big annual bike rally is held here. Tons of campgrounds catering just for that, tons of vendors and everything else. We've been over here, it's primarily Harley and, you know, that style, big cruiser bikes, some Indians, but you see all kinds of stuff. I've been over here several times now, not every year, but I've been over several times to check it out and look around. And we've talked about whether we should do it again this year. So if you want to see 2025 footage from the bike rally here in Sturgis, South Dakota, leave us a comment, let us know. Maybe we'll make it back over. And we even did a live drive here one year, which was fun. And I think there was only once we had to whip the camera away real quick to maintain our PG rating. Because, yeah, things can get interesting over here in Sturgis. But anyway, if you want to see more of that, let us know. We'll see if we can get back over and do something with it. It's only a couple hours, 2.5 hours, 2 hours maybe. So it's not too big of a trip. Anyway, we're going to continue on. I got to get off the camera and look up the GPS for where we're going, because it's in a house in some little town that I've never been to between Sturgis here and Rapid City. So we'll be back with you in a few minutes when we figure out where we're going and we get closer. All right, we are back. We just stopped for lunch. We actually were at the other place that we left. Didn't really find anything there for us. The folks kind of have a kind of an informal resale shop going out of their 3-bay garage, which is cool, but wasn't really stuff for us. So we stopped to get a bite to eat. We were snacking on our low-carb food on the way over. I tried to find a semi-low-carb option, so we hit the Golden Corral. I'm not going to tell you how I did on that, but I ate less carbs than I might have somewhere else. But beyond that, I'm not saying it was perfect, but I blame my Nini for my penchant for buffets and things, because when we were kids, she introduced my brother and I to smorgasbords in the Midwest. We used to travel in the Midwest with her. So a whole series of stories I could tell you about those adventures, but for now, we'll just say that that's where that comes from. So we hit the Golden Corral in Rapid City. We're going to head on now to a Salvation Army and maybe a Restore here, the Habitat for Humanity Restore. See if we can find anything interesting. And then we're going to stop and spearfish on our way back through, because last time we were in Spearfish, the Salvation Army had closed and they were in the process of opening a new facility, a new thrift store, a big warehouse facility. And we want to see if they're open yet. We may, I don't know if we'll actually go today or if we'll wait until Saturday in 2 days when we're back over in Spearfish, going to another estate sale over here. But we're going to at least check it out, see if they're open. And we ate too much. So I'm going to try and avoid a food coma while we go ahead to the Salvation Army. In worst case, I'll take a nap in the car while Melanie goes in and conquers the Salvation Army. All right, we just left the Salvation Army thrift store. We were going to go a few other places over here, but we're both wiped out. It's 3:45 in the afternoon. We did really well today with thrifting. It's always any tag sales or thrift stores or anything. Basically, you're looking for is those little treasures that you know you can make some money on, that whoever's selling it doesn't think it's worth much, or they just want to get rid of it, or they have too many of them. So in this case, they had an entire giant floor bin in here of belts, and they were all mostly leather or faux leather, but a lot of them were really good quality belts, like handmade, removable, snaps to remove the buckles and stuff, 99 cents a piece. We've done really, really well in the past with leather belts, so we snagged some of them up. Melanie found some a stack of clothing sewing patterns. Patterns, yeah, there you go. And we got like a really cool travel bag, and I don't know, a few other things, but the belts was the big one. We definitely paid for the trip over here just with that. Even though the earlier yard sale just wasn't really our speed, this worked out great. And we've been here a few times before and found stuff, but not like today. So today was a really good stop, and that's just the way it goes. You got to keep trying, because sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not so great. And today we found some stuff, and the expense we laid out here goes to a good cause, so it's all good all the way around. And we're going to get the AC cranked up, and we're going to start heading back to Gillette, because it's a bit of a ride. Well, I don't know, 2.5 hours probably, and we're both tired, and lots of projects to do this weekend still. There's another sale tomorrow and another couple on Saturday, I think. So anyway, we're going to get back on the road, and we'll check back in with you a little later, I suppose. All right, Melanie's just going through stuff. She had one in particular she had to check out. I don't know if any of you recognize that. I did not.
It's Gucci. Yeah, it's Gucci.
I don't know what somebody in Rapid City, South Dakota is doing wearing Gucci, but this was into that giant batch of really high-end leather belts, most of which were Western style, like Ariat and Tony Lama, and a bunch of small leatherwork artisans. If this is legit, she's going to be doing some research on it. If this is legit, she just picked more in one belt than everything I picked there today, combined. All right, so we're just pulling into the new Salvation Army thrift store location here in Spearfish, South Dakota. I think we're just checking if they're open. I don't know if we're actually going to go in or not. Melanie's still looking stuff up, like her patterns and stuff she got. She's still looking all that stuff up anyway from over there in Rapid City, and this truck does not know where it's going. I don't know where this truck's going. There we go.
No trespassing.
Tuesday to Saturday, 9 to 4. No trespassing when they're closed, apparently. But it looks like it is open now.
Oh, really?
So, and that's their donation area there that's all flagged off. So much larger facility. So we're looking forward to checking this out. I think it might be next time though. You still worn out? Or did you get a second wind?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, park for a minute. Let me think.
All right, we're gonna park for a minute so she can think, and then we'll decide, I guess. All right, so it turns out as we were walking in the store, they were announcing on the loudspeaker that they close in 20 minutes. Me, being half deaf with hearing aids, didn't hear a word they said, but Melanie assured me that's what was going on. And I did hear them as we were getting ready to check out. We did a quick race to the store just to see what's there, snag some stuff. Didn't have a chance to look anything up, so we're just totally winging it, which is, I think, the most fun anyways. And then as we're heading to the register, or we got through the register, heading out the door, they're saying we're closing. So we just made it. We'll be back like Saturday when we have more time to look around, because I didn't see a quarter of that store. It's huge, so much bigger than the old one. Great facility, and like I say, we always feel good about buying stuff at Mission thrift stores, because it's going to a good cause. And I'll show you a quick look at what we got here.
We need to poo.
We found a stack of watches for like $1 a piece, and some of them in particular I'm sure are worth more than $1. Some we'll find out.
Got an Iron Man. Yep.
Yeah, a couple of remotes. They often do well. These are Pioneers. I didn't have time to look them up, so we'll see how they do. And then Melanie got some another package of 5 or 6
really old
vintage patterns.
Yeah, some more vintage. So yeah.
And I should note, I mentioned earlier in this video, we have like 3 businesses. 2 of them are primarily things I do, the inspections and the content creation and publishing. That's kind of my main thing, although Melanie helps out with that in different capacities. The eBay thing, probably 80% of it's Melanie, if not more. I help out. I do a little shopping. Half the time I spend money on things I shouldn't and make her want to pull her beautiful hair out. The rest of the time, no, seriously, she does a lot of that, and I would not be doing it if she were not carrying the weight of most of it, because I don't have time. So I get to help out a little bit. I help with packaging and shipping, and it's kind of they're all kind of joint efforts. But the reason we do the reselling is because Melanie handles most of the weight on that, and she's like a Proverbs 31 lady. There's a whole slew of Corvettes at this hotel here. Melanie was mentioning earlier something about some kind of Corvette rally or event or something, which there's quite a few car shows in the Black Hills during the summer. But look at all these fancy cars. They look way too uncomfortable for me, you know. And I definitely like the 50 miles a gallon of the Prius, but hey, you know, they're cool, I'll admit it. I gotta hurry up and get to this light before it finishes turning on me.